Karissa. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and congratulations on expanding your family. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I'm getting into week 17, so things are feeling better.
Oh, awesome. Do you get morning sickness?
Yes.
You do.
You sometimes all the way to week 20, but yes, I get it really bad.
Oh, well, thank you so much for doing this. Hopefully you feel okay right now.
Yes, I feel great in the mornings. The mornings are good.
Okay, perfect. So for those who are not familiar with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your family, how many kids you have and how old they are?
Okay. So me and my husband, we've been married for 16, almost 17 years. We have 10 children, and our children are, okay, this is going to be hard, but I'll try. They're 14, 12, 11, 10, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, and 1. And then baby number 11 due in August.
Wow. Now, did you have morning sickness with all of your kids?
Yes, everyone.
Oh my, how do you handle it? Like, what do you do? Do you do anything? Are there any remedies that help you?
So I've never found a remedy ever until really until this pregnancy. So I started Plexus Slim. I've taken Plexus for years, but this year I started Slim and it helps a lot. It doesn't take it all the way away, but it does like get me through the day. Like I can function.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and speaking of you and your large household, you also homeschool all of your kids. Is that correct?
Yes,
And you do that yourself or do you have help?
I do that by myself.
Okay. So I want to know, what does that day look like? You homeschooling 10 kids. Like, what does that look like?
So I've tried so many curriculums and I've tried online because it's hard to do. I think I teach, right now I'm teaching 7 kids at once. Um, and sometimes 8 and 9 if my little ones will sit, but they don't usually. But I've tried lots of curriculums. The only one that I've found that makes it possible really for me is Gather Round, because you can teach all of them at the same time. So for anywhere from 1 to 4 hours of the day, they'll be around the table and I teach them all the same lesson. And then they have their own workbooks for their grade level. And so they listen, they answer questions, and then when I'm done teaching, then they open their books and I help one-on-one with their individual lessons.
And I'm imagining you have so many kids, they probably all have very different personalities. Like, I
Yes,
can't
very.
imagine all of them want to just sit there and learn. I mean, do you have some that are more active and you kind of have to manage them a little differently?
So it did take a few months. It usually takes a few months to train your children to sit at the table. But now I have my 7 oldest, they all sit the whole time and we don't have any issues at all. They actually, the smaller amount of time that you have, the better. And so the younger ones, their work isn't as much. And so they have no problem sitting for an hour to 2 hours. And my older kids have no problem. Like we'll stop for lunch and then they'll go back to it. But no, I don't have any issues right now. My 3 and 4-year-old, they like want to talk and color and play. So they're not sitting for very long right now,
Yeah.
but I'm totally fine with that.
Okay. So, I mean, you make it work. That's the main.
Yeah,
Now, do you have help though, just in general with just such a large household, maybe babysitters or family?
I do not.
No? Is that
No,
by choice or just because you guys are not
that
close?
is not by choice.
Oh,
No,
you're like, I want
no,
to handle it all on my own.
no, no. Well, I am really bad at delegating. I do always feel like I do everything, the way I want it. And so I am bad at asking for help, but my family lives 9 hours away. My husband's family, they don't visit us. So we don't, and they don't live close. They live an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then all my friends in our church community have 5 or more children, so they can't help. And I don't, my only babysitter is my friend with 5 kids. And so she will, like, if we go to Mexico, she'll come over and watch the kids with her kids.
By
But that's
herself?
about, yeah.
Wow. So the funny thing is, okay, so my mom used to have a daycare in the household. And I remember specifically that the max she could have without help was 6 kids.
Oh, wow.
She had to have someone assist, like if there was more, like for every 6 kids, you had to have
Yeah.
come in and help. So I'm just trying to imagine, having so many kids and you're doing it all by yourself. Now, how do you make time for yourself during all of this, like for self-care and just getting what you need?
Well, that's a good question. I will like take a bath at night, and that would be like my 1 hour of quiet time. And I remember when I had five, 4 and under, when I had 5 kids, 4 and under, I would put the kids to bed really early, because they're young and they need sleep. So they'd go to bed at like 6:30 or 7, especially when it would get dark at 6:30. I would like love that because they would just fall asleep because it was dark. And I remember, all that, you have a long, like 4 or 5 hours a night to yourself. But then I would miss them and I couldn't wait till the morning to see them again. Now, and your family adjusts to your schedule. So now my husband has a basketball company and they don't get home until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So we're not eating dinner until 9:30, 10 every night. So they're not in bed until midnight.
Oh,
So we are scheduled right now with my husband's jobs because he has 2 jobs, and then my all my kids play basketball, every single one of them.
wow.
so so they're out late playing basketball and on weekends playing on teams. And so I don't really get me time, but I'm in a season in my life where I don't want me time. Like when I don't want to go to the grocery store by myself. I like want my kids with me all the time. I'm like in that season, and I'm sure it comes with age and wisdom because I am 40 now.
And you
But
don't
I'm
you look
Oh,
25.
thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm in that season where I know I only have like 5 more years with my oldest, and I know she'll be out soon. So like I cherish every moment, and I don't want to just be alone. Like I want them. Now, don't get me wrong. I have days where I'm like, I need a break, and I'll go on a women's night with my friends. My husband will take the kids for the night if it's like, if I really need a break. And then me and my husband, we do date nights where my friend will come over, or um, we'll do date night rotations where I'll watch somebody's kids for their date night, and then they'll watch my kids for our date night.
Okay, so you do take some time for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks different for different people. And you also,
Yeah.
many people may not realize that you have some things that you do outside of your kids. Like I think
Right.
you're an entrepreneur. I think many people may not even realize that. Can you tell us
Yeah.
about some of your business ventures?
Yeah, so I am a photographer. And so I don't advertise it, it's word of mouth. So like today, this evening, I have a senior photo session. And so I do photography. So I'll do newborns, family, seniors. Um, and then I have a online boutique that kind of is on pause. But once my husband's company gets started back, like gets stable, then I will pursue it more. But yes, I have an online boutique right now. I just have sweaters, but I used to have like 2,000 items on there. It just got too much. I had too many returns and I wasn't making enough money.
Yeah,
So
yeah. The
yeah,
returns, because
yeah.
I had a Shopify store, but I was doing print on demand clothing
Oh,
because
okay.
I didn't want to have to deal with the returns. I was like, I
Right.
need someone to
Yes.
manage that for you. Like that's a job in and of it,
Yeah. Yeah,
have
I was doing drop shipping on Shopify, and like the sizes on all the items were different, and so people would just return all the time different sizes. So I would end up not making money. So I'm like rethinking which direction to go with that. I'm thinking mommy and me outfits, but yeah.
so
Um,
would you consider those passions like some of the things that you're trying to pursue on your own?
yes. Yes, the boutique is definitely a passion. I've always liked fashion, and my daughters love fashion. And I want them to be able, like when they graduate, to have a business they can step in and just take off with, or like have that income flowing. I also do plexus. So like I sell plexus, and I started doing that 6 months ago, and it has been so helpful for my family's health. And then me and my husband have gone on 2 free trips already.
Now,
And
what is
then
that?
just,
Is that the vitamin or something that you were taking?
yeah, it's a supplement.
Or
Yeah. Yeah.
supplement? Okay.
Let's see here. What else?
You do music, right?
Yes, I do music, but not for money. I don't make any money on that. But yes, I do music on the side. My friend helped me get set up so it's like bootleg music. But that is my biggest passion is music. I've always wanted to
Really?
be a singer. Yeah.
Oh, see, I think people don't realize because you have all these kids that, oh, she's just being a mom and there for her kids, but she's not doing anything else, pursuing any passions. But I
Oh
think,
no, I do. I do so much. I also lead a Bible study once a week, and we pastor a home church in our home. So we're constantly busy. And then like once my kids get older, I'm my other passion, I played college sports. I played volleyball and basketball, and I was like, that was my life. Like I thought I was going to the WNBA. Like it was my
really?
life. And when my senior year, I broke my elbow and some fingers, and I had the worst senior year. And I had like a midlife crisis, and I was in Bible college, and I'm like, my whole identity was sports. So I I'm a little scarred from it because it was really hard. Like it was really hard transition from thinking I was going pro in sports to nothing. And so I would love to coach my children, but with so many littles, I can't do that right now. But eventually I want to like help my husband out and coach girls basketball for sure.
That is so awesome. Now, how did you, because your husband's a basketball player, he played professionally, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And how did you guys meet? Was it through sports? I know, I think it was through college, right? At college?
Yeah. We actually met at the club. So I went to college
The
in
club
a,
club or like a Bible
yeah,
club?
no, club.
The club club. Okay.
Okay, so this story can get twisted sometimes, but I was in Bible college, and they told us all the time that we needed to, or I grew up like just wanting to witness to people, share my faith with people. But I was in a tiny town, and everybody I knew was a Christian. Everybody I knew like was a hardcore Christian that knew the word of God. And so I'm like, I don't know where to witness to people. And so people don't understand. I was really naive. Like people don't understand. They think that I lost my mind, but I did start going to the club to witness. I even had a CD. I had made a demo CD about God, and I would pass it out to everybody in the club.
Wow.
And after like a few months of trying to witness in the club, it was going nowhere. Like nobody cares about that in the club. So
Wait,
then,
I'm sorry, Karissa. So you would go to the club by yourself with the hopes of witnessing to someone and bringing them into a relationship with Jesus. That's what you were doing at the club?
yes, yes, I would go with my friend who would just dance, but yes. So I never drank, I never smoked. I saved myself till marriage. I was super naive. I never had a boyfriend by the time I was going to the club.
Hmm.
So when I started dating my husband, and I met him at the club, and I didn't remember him. I gave every single guy at the club my phone number to get them away from me. And I would only dance with them for one song. So my husband, I gave him my phone number, and he's the only guy that ever called me from the club, like ever. And when he called me, he asked me if I believed in God and where I went to church. And I was like, wait a second. No one's ever asked me that. You know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
so I did meet him. We were in colleges an hour apart. So we met in like a middle town. And I knew from the moment I met him that I was going to marry him. Like that
Mm.
night, he experienced racism in my town, and he was so humble and so nice to the men that were treating him terrible. He got a flat tire as soon as he pulled into my town, and he took his car to the repair shop, and they treated him awful. And I remember just being so embarrassed. And he was the nicest, calmest, like just so respectful. And I'm like, man, there's something different about him.
Hmm.
And that night I went and I told my friend I'm gonna marry him.
Wow.
And so yeah, we started dating, I don't know, 4 months later, and 2 years later we were married.
So, anywho, so you and your husband, you started dating, and I believe I saw you guys on an interview you did on YouTube. You guys are hilarious together, by the way. Your husband is so funny,
He is funny, yes.
but it's he's so funny. It's so natural. Like you don't even know sometimes he's trying to be funny, but it's
Yeah.
like I was laughing out loud. And he's barely on your Instagram. Is that intentional?
Yeah, because he works like 2 to 3 jobs, so for a long time, he does not like social media, he likes in-person communication.
Mm-hmm.
He just I don't know, he thought that online there was no place for God, is really where he was.
Mm.
And then now he's over the years, he's seen women that have like had children because they have seen our testimony, and people that are hearing like our life story and that they're changing, and just all these women that share their stories with me, I would send them to him and he'd be like, okay, okay, we definitely need to be online. So actually this year, I really wanted to delete my whole account. Like I wanted to just disappear.
Mm.
Like the end of last year was really hard with just the bullies online and the things they were saying about us, the lies they were making up about us. It was just too much. And I started to feel physically in danger, and
Mm.
like I was putting my family in danger. And like they're calling me racist and all kinds of things online. Like my nickname is KKK Karissa. Like I
Oh,
just
wow.
it's just too much, and it's definitely not who I am. And so I was actually about to hit delete and I said, "Okay, God, this is your like God did this. I didn't grow this account. I don't know anything about social media." And so I was telling the Lord like, "I'll delete it. Whatever you want me to do." And so I decided to fast for 7 days and ask the Lord like, "What do you want me to do?" And he was very clear. The Lord was very clear with me. He has specifically told me that I had two choices. I could be all in or all out, but I could no longer be in the middle where I was always questioning if I should keep going or not going. And I knew which way he really wanted me to go, but he gave me the option, like he always does. And so I talked to my family and I said, I need you, if I'm going to be all in, I need you to be all in. I need you to like support me all the way, because my husband would like see something and then not fully support it. And we would sometimes like bicker about it. And my children, I wasn't sure if it was something they really wanted to do or if they wanted to be a part of. And so we sat down as a family and agreed we were all going to be all in. So my husband has agreed to being in my social media at least once a week.
Oh,
Hopefully more, but
yeah.
so hopefully you'll see him more. But I do like want him to do more like longer videos and like
Yeah.
share his story, because people assume that either I forced him to do this or he forced me to do this, and they don't really see his perspective that much.
Yeah. And you could also come from the perspective of like as a couple, like how do you manage just your intimate time together? Because some people
Yeah.
think that they can get close to their spouse or have time with their spouse if they have a lot of kids. So maybe
Yeah.
dispel some of that or, just show how you guys do it. It could encourage other people that are,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah. So going back to your passions, because wow, you have a lot of passions and you're doing what you can to make it work. What would you say to the moms out there who they think, because they have kids that they can't pursue their passions, or maybe they're putting them on hold until the kids get out of the house? Like, what would you say to those moms?
So my advice to those moms, so I can remember when I quit my job and I came home and I had all these things I wanted to do. I wanted to make a lot of money and bring money into the house and help my husband while also being a stay-at-home mom. And that isn't completely realistic. And like the Lord had to really teach me. I think I did 8 MLMs before, and none of them were like, they were all failures, just one after another, because you kind of are looking for instant success. And the Lord was like, "Are you done yet?" And so what I did is I had to surrender it to God. I had to get my house in order and enjoy my first calling of motherhood. and enjoy my children and enjoy what he's really called me to. And then the Lord, just would like he started photography for me. So I would take pictures of my kids while I was a mom, and I would share them online. And then I would just have people asking, "Can you take our pictures? Can you do this for us?" And so from that, just randomly birthed a photography career. I did an online photography course, got my degree, and then just learned through YouTube how to be a photographer. Just in like when they would go to bed, I would do it when they would go to bed. So we actually, and something that I'm learning is we have so much time. We say all the time, "I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time." Back then, they turned their butter. They had to go outside and milk the cow. They went to the well to get their water. Like they had no time. They were doing everything for their family all the time. We don't have to do that anymore. I can go pop a lasagna in the oven from the freezer section if I want to, and dinner is done in 5 minutes. And so, and I mean, unless you want to be that homemaker that, makes everything from scratch, but you still have more time than we've ever had in history. We have time for these things. But the first thing that I would suggest is getting your house in order, getting a consistent schedule, getting your children like on their chores and respectful, and getting homeschool consistent. If those things are failing, if you and your husband are not in a good place, don't pursue another passion, because your family's going to go downhill. And our families are first and foremost. Also, your children will leave, and you will have lots and lots and lots of time. And so we do have like a long time to pursue our passions. Um, so I just say, like, passions are amazing, but ultimately, what is God asking you to do? And so, yes, the Lord has helped me and given me like little pieces of time and things here and there that I can grab onto. The other thing that I left out is that on social media, like I do brand repping, and I do like do affiliate marketing. So that does bring like a little bit of money in here and there. Not what you would expect, from a large following. They say that you're supposed to make like 50 to 500,000 a month having a following that large. I'm not even close, okay? But I do get like $100 here and there from affiliate marketing and stuff. And so that does take up time, but my kids get to be involved in that. So I involve my children like in photography. My daughter wants to be a photographer. So every time I do a session, she goes with me. I teach her, and I raise her up to do it when she leaves, because you can make a really good amount of money on photography if you have the time to invest in it. And then when my kids leave, I'll have plenty of time to jump into that and make more money than my husband, probably, to be honest.
Mhm.
But then, like my online boutique, my kids help me package the clothes and ship them off. They help me model them if they like. A lot of my kids want to be in modeling and want to do that. Plexus, my kids take the products, so they love them. So all of the things that God's put in my life, my kids can just come right in with me. Like they love to be a part of the social media. So just involve your children. It feels like a family thing, and you can have your passions and your family all come together. But first things first, get your house in order.
I think that's so key, you saying that, like getting your house in order first, because a lot of moms who are trying to pursue different things, they're working from overwhelm and not overflow.
Yeah,
So they don't
yeah.
really have a lot to give because they're so strapped they're so strapped. They don't have, they're depleted. So that's good that you mentioned, or you said that, get your house in order first. That's great. And then
And
also, go ahead.
sorry, and what that causes is if you're approaching it in an overwhelmed state, it causes you to feel like a failure, and it causes you to hate motherhood. And then you kind of are bitter that you have children and you can't do what you want to do. And
Hmm.
so we just have to get our priorities right. Like, obviously, God's blessed us with children and given us the honor of being a mother. And once you put that where it's supposed to be, then everything else is just a benefit.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And then I love that you involve your kids, because that's something that I also say to moms, just when I'm coaching them, involve your kids in the things that you do. Like even me, I have a blog, like I'm always getting my kids to help me like I even pay them. Like if I get paid, oh,
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
you get a percentage of this, if you
yeah.
for me. So I think involving your kids, yeah, that's key as well. So, what are some misconceptions? What are some misconceptions that people have of you that you just want to dispel? Can you think of like a
Oh
few?
gosh. Yes. I could think of a million.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things that so I've been watching, like I watched The Shiny Happy People. I don't know if you've seen that documentary
No.
about the Duggars. I told myself I wouldn't watch it, but I was like, I need to know like what people are saying. And then
Mhm.
I just watched this Prime Video show about cults. And I'm watching these thinking, this is what people think about me. Like, this is crazy stuff. This is not at all who I am. And it breaks my heart because I know a lot of the like I'm really gonna like try not to cry because I have a heart for people. Like I genuinely sorry, I genuinely love people and they have trauma or misconceptions of what religion is, of what following God means. I was not raised in a specific denomination. I'm not in a specific denomination. I've never heard of these denominations that these cult videos are about, or what they're teaching their children is not what I'm teaching my children. I just follow the Bible and I read the Word of God and I operate from a starting place of love and that the Lord is for us and that He is good. And so, like, there's a lot of cults out there where they, like, I've been seeing. This is what I've seen on documentaries that they like demand their children to be like slaves, mother slaves, or they have to have as many children as they can, and like that's not a place I preach. I don't teach that. I absolutely teach that everyone can and should give their womb to the Lord and have as many children as the Lord gives them. But it's not in a you have to do it even if you don't want to. Like the Lord doesn't want our obedience if it's against our will. He wants our love to obey him. He's not like if he wants you to be generous with your money and you give with a hard heart, he doesn't want your money. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't want that obedience if you're doing it in a I have to instead of seeing his goodness behind it or the joy of life. And so I just like kind of want to dispel that I am everyone says I'm in a cult, and me and my husband are in a cult. The other day, there was a comment that we moved to the country so I could isolate my children and teach them only our beliefs. So they don't experience the world. Like, that's just crazy. I moved to the country so that they could play on land and have somewhere to run. We had like no backyard at our other house. We have neighbors. We're in a community. They're in basketball all the time with public school kids. Like, they're not separated from the world. They're not sheltered either. We have TV. As much as I hate TV, they watch TV. So yeah. Also, people think that I bleach their skin. I feel like I've dispelled this over and over and over,
That
and
one
that I'm
sounded
racist.
ridiculous to me
It
when I
is
heard that.
completely ridiculous. Um, I married a black man because I love dark skin. I like tanned my way to trying to be darker my whole life. The last thing I am is like against my kids being dark.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy to me.
Yeah. And your kids
Um,
are beautiful, by the way. They could all be models. Like you
thank
guys could
you.
be making 6, 7 figures if they were in modeling.
I mean, I did sign my daughter up and like it's not gone anywhere. I haven't heard anything. She my second oldest daughter wants to model so bad.
Oh, they
And
could. All of them.
yeah, for
Um,
years I've submitted them and I've gotten nothing.
I'm
So
surprised.
I
That's
just I equate it to the Lord not wanting that for us.
maybe the door just shutting.
Yeah.
I wanted to know a little bit more about your music, Karissa, because you said
Okay.
it's a passion of yours, right?
Yes.
Now, what would you ideally want to pursue with your music?
Well, I led worship for a long time at my church, and that's really my passion is to get the message, like the ministry God's given me, which is motherhood and the womb, to put it in song, because there aren't really, like, nobody talks about it. Nobody is singing about those things, and people connect through music. And so I do have a new album coming out eventually. I don't have that much time to record these days, but it's going to be called Controversy. It is very bootleg, so it's not anything professional, but it's about the controversial things that we just aren't allowed to talk about these days. And so, like, there's songs about abortion and vaccines and motherhood. I'm trying to think of all the other things we talk about, money, stuff like that. So I just like the things the Lord has taught me, I want to put into music, because, like, while the reels and the photos and the posts online can reach people, music is something that really reaches people. And it's definitely something I've loved my whole life, and I've definitely felt a calling to. And so
So you want
I
to
hope
put out a full album? You want to
I
record?
already have I already have I already have an album out, but this one's gonna have like 10 songs, I think.
Hmm. Wow. Okay. And then some people don't know that you also self-published a book, right?
Yes.
I'm just like, how does she have time to do all this? How many
Well,
hours a night of sleep do you get?
I get 9 to 10 hours a night. I don't function without at least 9 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, we have trained our children to sleep through the night, and so we're definitely blessed. My husband, on the other hand, gets about 5. He doesn't care about sleep, and so he works harder than me. But
Now, who does all the cooking? Is it you?
yes, the kids try to help. I'm really bad at delegating cooking, because I don't want to, like, waste food in case something goes wrong somewhere or they add something that they shouldn't. So I supervise them cooking. They love to cook, but I ultimately do most of it.
Wow. Okay, so moms listening, Karissa has 10 kids and one on the way. And look at these passions that she's pursuing. And she's coming from a place, I believe it's from overflow and not overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So it's possible. It is possible. So wonderful. Karissa, thank you so much for being here today. Now, where can
Yeah,
people
for sure.
find you if they want to know more about you and maybe some of the passions that you're pursuing? Like, do you have a website, your own website as well?
Um, I do have a website. It's called thecollinskidsfamily.com. I believe that's what it's called. And that just will link you to my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube, all of those things. Or if that's too hard, you can just find me on Instagram at the Collins Kids. And I do have a link there where it connects you to everything that I'm doing.